All right. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Blaine Wright with Motel to Apartments. I'm the acquisitions head for Motels to Apartments, and just want to welcome you to our weekly deal webinar. And hopefully, everybody's had a great week thus far, and hopefully, you are getting ready for the holiday season. So just a little bit about us. If you're just seeing our webinar for the first time, we are a company that's been around for about, we're going to be going into our fifth year in 2025. We've done 5 different conversions and typically about 1 a year. We like to do more, just about getting the right deal at the right location for us. Currently working on a Brownsville, Texas Magnuson property that we're converting. We're about 60% done right now. We're working with the city to get some different items worked out with the city. They haven't worked with a hospitality to apartment conversion company. They don't do a lot down there, so we're just trying to go through the process with them. But our webinar, what we try to do every week, we want to connect with hotel owners, hotel brokers, hotel agents, and maybe investors that have hospitality assets that would work as a conversion for flexible living. So we call it flexible living because we like to do both long-term and short-term. We find that the mix allows the occupancy to be 90% or better. And so that just brings more money in. So looking for flexible living options throughout the United States here. And we'll go through, what we look for, why we look for it, what we're doing and whatnot. So let me share my screen here and we'll kind of go through what there we go. So we're going to go through our buy box. So you just kind of what we're looking for. And when I say this before we get really dive deep into it, this is more of a generality of what we're looking for. When in doubt is what our motto is. When in doubt, go ahead and send us a deal. And we'll tell you, relatively quickly if it is something that we might be interested to looking into deeper. So with that, we're just gonna go through our buy box here. So target market. So that's the first thing a lot of people ask us, where are we? So I'm actually located in the Phoenix metro area. That's where I'm based. And that's where one of our founders is based. You have another founder that's based in the Salt Lake City area. And so our deals, what we've worked on in the past. So we've really, our deals that we've done have been in Texas and Arizona. Those are the 2 areas that we know really well. We've done deals in those areas. We're connected with contractors and people in the know in those areas to help us have a successful operation in those locations. So Texas, we really would like the large MSAs, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, Austin. Would also look at some of the bigger college towns like College Station and so forth. So that those are the areas that we look for. And when in doubt, we're looking for opportunities. We'll look at secondary markets, but the reality is we need a market that's about 250,000 people or more to have a viable product for what we look for. So we're not affected by one economy or whatnot. We've looked at deals in West Texas, but we've done diligence in West Texas, and it's the reality is it's oil based, it's energy based, and those things have cycles that they go through. And so we want to be in an area where it's has a variety of different employment options, and it's a steady income or steady population growth as well. So I live in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona, or the county that Phoenix is in, is the fastest growing county in the United States. So just to give you an example of that. And we'll also look at properties in the Southeast. So Charlotte, Raleigh, Nashville, Miami, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Jacksonville, Atlanta. So North Carolina, North and South Carolina, Florida, definitely, Nashville, Tennessee, metro area. We would definitely look at those areas. Those are growing areas, and people ask, well, why Sunbelt states? Well, number one, the population migration in the United States going from north to south, whether it's on the West Coast or on the East Coast. People are going from colder, maybe a little bit more restrictive as far as business and taxes go, areas like, say, New York, and going to more friendlier environments when it comes to business, jobs, etc. Like I say, to Florida, which they don't have any income taxes. So that's why we look at those areas. And then also, you can work year round, where some of the northern states, once winter hits, you can't really work. So there's some different factors that we look at for sure. But when in doubt, feel free to send us a deal, and we'll talk about how you can send us a deal later on in this webinar. All right, so what do we look for in a property? So age, 1980s or newer is our preference. And number one question I get, well, why 80s or newer? We try to avoid properties that could have asbestos remediation. It's a time killer. It's a money killer. And it can kill a deal depending on what the situation is with the property. Now, with that said, would we look at a property that's older than 1980s? Yes, we would. We've acquired properties that are older, but that's why we would prefer not to acquire those if possible. But if we can make the numbers work, a deal's a deal. But our preference is 1980s or newer. So room size, 350 square feet. Number one question I get about room size. Well, average room size for a hotel is typically 250 square feet, and that is correct. That is the standard, but all of our rooms are going to have kitchenettes. So what does that mean? So we're going to have a cooktop. We're going to have a sink. We're going to have cabinetry. We might have stackable washer and dryers in the room. So with that, based on our experience, we have to have 300 square feet to logistically make it work, to make the room functional. So obviously bigger is better. We found that 400 square feet is actually in our wheelhouse. 400 to 500 square foot rooms are, that's grand slam home run area. So, and we do want some amenities. We are flexible with those, but typically Sunbelt states, you're going to have a pool. You're going to have some outside common area space. You're going to have some inside common area space, maybe flex rooms that you could do meetings in. And then we also look for maybe a workout facility and also a laundry facility as well. So those are some of the amenities that we look for. Again, we are flexible to make those work as well. Room count. We really like 100 minimum. And the reason is, once you get to that 100 number, it's just more cost effective than doing something that's 75 rooms. To do 75 to 80 rooms, and to do 100 rooms, the cost difference isn't that big, and we would just rather have more units, more money. Room type. So again, we are flexible, but if they already have a kitchenette, it's already perfect for what we want. That means we don't have to run electrical. That means we don't have to run plumbing for a sink. That means we probably don't have to change the room footprint in the room to make a kitchen fit. So if you've got a kitchenette property, you definitely would like to talk to you, depending on the location and whatnot. Building height, we want probably no higher than four stories. Anything bigger, you're probably going to be in a super urban environment, like a downtown area. And that's just not what we do. That's just not what we have experience in. And then you're dealing definitely with city stuff. And definitely you're going to have to go to the city planning and permitting and things of that nature. And it's just a long drawn out process when you're dealing with something that's in a super urban environment. And we also like the independent hotelier. We're flexible, but we would prefer that. Excuse me, working with the independent hotelier. And the reason why is we have something called LDs, or liquidated damages, when you're dealing with the franchise flag. And obviously, for what we do, we would need them to be not have a franchise on them. And then so you have to negotiate the liquidated damages for terminating the franchise agreement. And so sometimes those can be upwards of over 500,000. I've seen them as much as $1 million, depending on the asset. So it can be what I call a deal killer. So love the independent hotelier. We've done branded, but the independent hotelier that we've just done more deals that way. And it's just worked out best for both parties when it's an independent brand. Okay, location preferences. So we talked a little bit about cities and stuff, but what we look for within an area, we look for healthcare, we look for education. Our assets that we have are great for student housing. Not that we want to totally focus on that, but if we have a small portion of people that are going to be using the asset that are going to school, works well for that. Then obviously proximity to retail. Sometimes transportation is an issue. And so we want to be close to retailers within walking distance, and also walking distance to transportation, whether that's bus or like a light rail that we have like here in Phoenix. And then other retailers that we look for Costco, we look for Trader Joe's, we look for Sam's Club, Target, and other A-class retail areas that are, within a reasonable distance. We want 5 miles. Anything closer than that's even better. And then we want to be closer to some type of international airport. It says 5 miles, depending on how big the city is. If you're in a super huge metro area, like a Phoenix, like a Dallas, like a Houston, you could probably expand that to 20 miles. I live in Phoenix Metro, and I'm 20 miles from the airport. So just something to keep in mind. Okay. So talked a little bit about proximity. Here's some other proximity requirements for hospitals, universities, shopping, retail. We also look for industrial and business complexes. That means jobs. And then obviously public transportation, and then major retailers, Costco, Target, Walmart. So we want to be within 1 to 5 miles. Obviously public transportation needs to be within walking distance as well. Okay, so how do we do this? So acquisition. So cash, we can do cash. I will tell you, if it's going to be cash, it's going to be deeply discounted, just because if we're going to do cash for the acquisition, we also need cash to rehabilitate the property, update the property. So that's just something that goes hand in hand. The one that we love the most is seller financing, creative acquisition. And the reason for that is you take a lender out of the picture. You're not using all of your cash to acquire an asset, and then typically we can make a win-win transaction for the seller. Oftentimes, with these seller financing deals, the seller will actually make more money, cash on cash, than they would doing a cash transaction. Now, I said we would prefer doing seller financing. Yes. Now, are we against bank financing? No. What right now versus something 2 years ago, the banking financing environment, as far as interest rates and whatnot, whether it's acquiring the asset or actually, sometimes we also will need construction funds, and just the interest rates with those right now are just very high, and it just really inhibits us from doing a bank finance deal. And there's also restrictions on that. There's appraisals, there's underwriting, there's different things the hoops that they make you jump through, are time consuming, and oftentimes can be a detriment to acquiring the property as well, because it's a conversion type asset. We're going to be doing flexible living versus doing a straight hospitality. And so there's some gray area with that as far as bank financing goes. And then the other thing, so we were actually working on something yesterday, doing a joint venture. We're open to that. We were looking at a portfolio of different properties that an owner owned that we were considering doing a joint venture with them on those properties and acquiring them. So open to that. We're open to those type of terms. We're open to everybody being a win-win transaction, and joint venture. We can definitely work with that and do that type of transaction if the situation calls for it. Okay, so here's our basic approach. So we identified a property that meet our target market. So we basically gave you kind of what our target markets are and what we look for. And then we go through an evaluation process, which I'm heavily involved in. That's my main job, is to evaluate certain assets to make sure that they could be a successful asset once we acquire, run, and rehab the property and bring it back to market. And then once that's done, then we negotiate terms and complete the property acquisition. So it's pretty straightforward. And then we start the transformation process. Typically, what we like to do, depending on the property, we'd really like to get in and get out in at least a calendar year, so that we can start making money on the money that we've spent. And then we transform the property, fill the property up with tenants and long-term stays, and then we go to our next project. All right, so this is the way you can contact us. That phone number there is actually my cell phone number, 623-695-0940. You can reach out to us, info@motelstoapartments.com, and then you can check us out on our website, check out what we're doing, motelstoapartments.com, and check us out, see what we're doing. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you've got a property that you're considering selling, maybe you're a broker, maybe you're an owner, you're thinking, I don't know, I'd like to sell it, I don't know where to start, feel free to contact us. We can definitely give you our input on if it would be a fit for what we do. So reach out to us, and we'll be happy to talk to you about your property, and we'll give you feedback. And I get emails all the time from properties all across the United States, different locations and whatnot. And I'll be straight with you as far as a property goes. If it's going to be something that might fit what we look for, we'll definitely tell you right away. And we try to make a deal work with all parties. So that's really it from me today. Hopefully this helps you with what we do and what we're looking for. And when in doubt, reach out to us. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thanks.
Welcome to your new home in McAllen, Texas.
This place used to be totally different. We took 29 motel rooms that were dated. Remember, these were built in the 50s, and we turned them around. We gutted these down to the studs. We replaced the electrical. We replaced the plumbing. We even added gas lines. And now we have a beautiful 29-unit multifamily. So bear with me, there's a lot that we're packaging into this one offer for the resident. In this motel to apartment conversion, we have sewer, water, trash, electric, internet, washer, dryer, dishwasher, microwave, oven, stove, all included for just one monthly fee.
Y no se preocupe, nosotros hablamos español. Go ahead and go to studiosonfourth.com, check out the floor plans that we have available, and submit your information. And just a friendly reminder, we have everything included: sewer, water, trash, electric, utilities, even fiber, high-speed internet. Submit your info and we'll get back to you. Welcome home.